Have you ever wondered why some people live in constant fear, even in their own homes? Well, let's shed some light on this invisible scourge known as domestic violence. It is a pervasive, life-threatening crime that impacts millions worldwide, crossing all social, economic, and cultural boundaries. Domestic violence is not just physical abuse. It includes any form of maltreatment that occurs in a familial or intimate relationship. It can be emotional, psychological, financial, or sexual, and it can be as subtle as a consistent pattern of demeaning insults or as blatant as a violent physical assault. You see, domestic violence is a lot more common than we'd like to admit. It's the quiet, insidious enemy that lives next door, down the street, maybe even in our own homes. And it doesn't just affect the person being abused. The impact ripples out, touching women, children, and families alike. Women who are victims often face physical injuries, mental health issues, and forced financial dependence. Children, whether they experience the abuse directly or witness it, are deeply affected. They often exhibit emotional and behavioral issues, struggle academically, and sadly, they are more likely to enter into abusive relationships themselves as adults. The toll on families is immense, creating environments of fear, instability, and isolation. But here's the thing: domestic violence thrives in silence. It takes root in the shadows of our society, growing stronger with every unspoken word, every ignored sign, every unreported incident. The fear, the shame, the stigma, they all contribute to a cycle of silence that allows this violence to persist. The repercussions of this silent pandemic are far-reaching and deeply ingrained in our society. We can no longer afford to turn a blind eye or remain silent. We need to recognize domestic violence for what it is, a global crisis that requires immediate attention and action. Domestic violence is a silent pandemic, and it's time we break the silence. Domestic violence doesn't just leave physical scars. It affects every aspect of a survivor's life. Let's delve into the 6 significant problems caused by domestic violence. The first is physical harm and injury. Bruises and broken bones might be visible signs, but there are numerous unseen health issues that survivors grapple with, from chronic pain and sleep disorders to heart disease and even cancer. Secondly, the emotional trauma and psychological damage. Survivors often face a range of mental health issues such as depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. The psychological scars can be just as, if not more, debilitating as the physical ones. The third problem is financial instability and control. Abusers often use money as a tool to exert control, leaving survivors financially dependent and unable to escape the abusive situation. This financial instability can last for years, even after escaping the abuser. Next, we have isolation. Abusers often isolate their victims from friends, family, and support networks, making it harder for survivors to seek help or escape. This isolation can lead to a profound sense of loneliness and despair. The fifth problem concerns the impact on children. Children who witness or experience domestic violence are more likely to struggle with emotional, behavioral, and academic issues. They are also at a higher risk of becoming involved in abusive relationships themselves. Lastly, there's the cycle of fear and powerlessness. This cycle perpetuates the abuse, with survivors often feeling trapped in their situation, unsure of how to break free. The constant fear can be paralyzing, leaving survivors feeling like they have no control over their lives. In sum, domestic violence is more than just physical abuse. It's an all-encompassing issue that affects a survivor's physical health, mental well-being, financial stability, social connections, and children's futures. It's a cycle of fear and powerlessness that can feel impossible to break free from. The effects of domestic violence run deep, often leaving survivors feeling trapped and powerless. But remember, there is help out there, and no one should have to face these struggles alone. But what if we told you that knowledge and understanding could be the first steps towards change? Imagine a world where every survivor of domestic violence feels empowered to speak out and seek help. A world where communities are educated to recognize the signs of abuse and intervene effectively. This is not just a dream, but a possibility that can be realized through the power of awareness. Awareness is more than just understanding an issue. It's about acknowledging the impact of domestic violence on individuals and society. It's about recognizing the signs of abuse and knowing how to respond. It's about challenging the societal norms that perpetuate violence and victim blaming. When we raise awareness, we provide resources and support for those in need. We create safer environments for survivors to heal and thrive. Awareness is the catalyst for change, the spark that ignites the flame of empowerment. Let's consider the power of education. When communities are educated about the signs and impacts of abuse, they become better equipped to intervene effectively. They can provide support, offer resources, and stand up against victim blaming. Education is not just for the survivors but for everyone. It's a collective effort. Then there's the challenge of societal norms. Through awareness, we can challenge and change the norms that perpetuate violence. We can question the beliefs and attitudes that make victims feel blamed for their abuse. We can create a culture of respect and equality. Creating safer environments is another critical benefit of awareness. When we know about domestic violence, we can create environments that encourage survivors to speak out, seek help, and heal. We can build communities that are not just safe but also supportive and understanding. Finally, by raising awareness, we're working towards a future free from domestic violence. It's a long journey, but every step counts. Every conversation, every shared resource, every act of support brings us closer to that goal. Awareness is a weapon against the cycle of abuse. It's a tool we can all wield. And when we all wield this weapon together, we become a force of change, a beacon of hope, and a voice for those who have been silenced. We all have the power to contribute to the fight against domestic violence. Indeed, every single one of us can make a difference, a real, tangible difference, in this ongoing battle. How, you might ask? By staying vigilant, by recognizing the signs of abuse, by supporting survivors, and by challenging harmful attitudes and behaviors. Recognizing the signs of abuse isn't always straightforward, but it's crucial. It can be as subtle as a friend who has become withdrawn, a family member who is excessively controlled by their partner, or a coworker who carries unexplained injuries. When we spot these signals, we mustn't turn a blind eye. Instead, reach out, offer a listening ear, and remind them that they are not alone. Supporting survivors is another key aspect of this fight. This support can take many forms. It could be providing a safe space for a survivor to share their story, assisting them in accessing resources, or simply standing beside them as they navigate their journey to recovery. Everyone's journey is unique, and every survivor deserves respect, patience, and understanding. Challenging harmful attitudes and behaviors is equally important. Each of us can play a part in reshaping societal norms that perpetuate violence and victim blaming. It starts with self-reflection, questioning our own biases, examining our language and actions, and acknowledging where change is needed. From there, we can encourage others to do the same and collectively create a culture that does not tolerate abuse. Remember, we are not just bystanders in this fight. We are allies, we are advocates, and we are change makers. Whether it's having a difficult conversation with a friend, volunteering at a local shelter, or educating others about domestic violence, every action contributes to a larger wave of change. In the fight against domestic violence, every action counts. No effort is too small. It's time to step up, to be the change we want to see, because together we can put an end to domestic violence and create a world where safety, respect, and equality are the norm for all. Now, we turn the spotlight to you. Yes, you, because you hold an essential piece of the puzzle in putting an end to domestic violence. You are the catalyst, the change maker, and the voice that can echo through the silence. You have the power to make a difference, to inspire change, and to let those in need know that they are not alone. So, how can you contribute? It's simpler than you might think. Firstly, like this video, it's a small action, but it helps to spread the message further and wider. Each like is a show of solidarity, a declaration that we stand united against domestic violence. Next, leave a comment. Share your thoughts, your experiences, your hopes. Let's foster a space for open and honest conversation. Remember, your words have the power to encourage, to empower, and to heal. Then let's amplify this message. Share this video with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Let's break the silence surrounding domestic violence, let's challenge the stigmas, and let's start the conversations that can lead to change. Subscribe to Sisters Speak on domestic violence. As a subscriber, you're not just a passive viewer, you're part of a community that's dedicated to raising awareness, to supporting survivors, and to ending the cycle of domestic violence. Join us. We're more than just a YouTube channel. We're a movement, a collective force striving for a future free from domestic violence. We're advocates, educators, supporters, and survivors. We're a community that believes in the power of unity, the strength of courage, and the potential for change. So stand with us. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and join the Sisters Speak on domestic violence community, because each and every one of us has a role to play in ending domestic violence. Your voice matters, Together we can break the cycle of violence and create a safer world for all.